Welcome to the official zombie storyline. Chapter 2. Deleting the Evidence. Richtofen knew that time was of the essence. He had a brief window, and in this window, he would build a team of researchers, architects, scientists, and engineers that together would aid the progression of Griffon Station. He knew that the pyramid would need further scrutiny, and so he apportioned over 100 skilled workers from the ranks of the Reich to aid in the investigation. He based them at the Eagle's Nest. It was here that he would slowly begin to send parts to the abandoned mining facility at Griffon Station. Richtofen was not interested in sourcing element 115. No, by this time, he was drunk on the idea of control. However, Edward's lack of control would be his undoing. And little did Edward know that Maxis was already aware of his recent steps. For now, Edward would bide his time attending to his daily duties. Over the next 2 years, Edward and Schuster would travel back and forth using the matter transference prototype, always being vigilant that they were never caught. It had taken 2 years since the first prototype test, but Edward had accomplished an incredible feat on the lunar landscape. As a thank you for all the hard work, he gathered all of the workers and unveiled the Vril Machine. He claimed that by decoding some of the Vril language, he was sure that he had found a portal to another dimension, a stable gateway to the Ever. But Richtofen had other plans. For now, he would return to Earth, leaving Dr. Groph in charge of Griffon Station. He knew that the only element standing in his way was Maxis. The fact was that Maxis had been researching the Vril himself. However, the pieces were not clicking in Edward's mind. If he had not been so concentrated on his own work, he would have realized that Maxis was one step ahead. You see, at this time, Maxis was already installing a safety net to prevent Richtofen's grand scheme. Maxis knew of Edward's secrets. However, he did not know the scale of Edward's project. By this time, Griffon Station was a hive of activity. One day, Dr. Schuster discovered a rather dark secret. Dr. Groph and Dr. Schuster were examining a glass vat that appeared near the Vril Machine. Suddenly, a rodent scurried past them, and Schuster crushed the rat beneath his feet. A strange noise echoed around the room, and Schuster noticed that a small amount of matter had been transferred from the rat to the glass vat. It was as though a soul would need to be installed into the machine for it to operate. However, there were 4 large vats to fill, and the rat had only filled a microscopic proportion of one. The scientists contacted Dr. Richtofen at the Eagle's Nest and explained the matter to him directly. In Edward's mind, this was a chance to finally understand the true potential of the Vril Machine. It was a once in a mankind's chance to further human understanding. His orders were direct, and so Dr. Richtofen sent his remaining colleagues from the Eagle's Nest to Griffon Station. It is here that 100 members of his staff would be murdered. It was up to Dr. Groph to perform the task, and any survivors would be sent to the German barracks of Kostovo, Boston. On Earth, Richtofen was still performing Operation Shield. By this time, Maxis' research had been redirected. He was no longer interested in mass-producing the DG2. Instead, his work had been redirected to an extremely disturbing design. Gentlemen, It is with the utmost urgency that I draw your attention to the lack of funding being injected into the giant project. Well, I believe we are close to realizing the ultimate plan. We still have several years of development before it is ready. It would be folly to cut our expenditures so early in our development. As you know, early tests of the DG2 have easily outperformed expectations, and we fully anticipate mass-producing the Wunderwaffe within the next few years. Work on the matter transference has, however, come to a standstill. We simply do not have enough element 115 to continue with the experiments. The test subjects have survived teleportation, but are currently unresponsive to commands and cannot be controlled. If we are to overcome this obstacle, we will need to increase the frequency and size of the experiment. To this end, I suggest we not only find a regular supply of 115, but we also find a larger conduit to channel the energy. Our operatives in America have informed us that the US have a large supply of the element at a Nevada base. By 1944, Germany had lost significant control of the battlefield, and casualties and fatalities were in the hundreds of thousands. The Nazi Party had recently convened a meeting with a group of dark ideologists entitled the Black Sun. The idea of necromancy has been long-standing in Germanic folklore. However, they would need a visionary to pilot these efforts. Maxis would be that visionary. It was almost a year of consistent testing. The most unusual facet was that reanimation was extraordinarily easy to achieve, simply transfusing and injecting small amounts of unampentium. It was controlling the horrors that would remain to this day unsolvable. It was rumored that Group 601, a group whose sole purpose was that of radio wave manipulation, were working hand in hand with Maxis. They were trying to form a compressed signal via radio waves that would essentially hypnotize a horror into a controllable vessel. All research in this area of control, however, failed. And so, with no significant results to show the Nazi Party, he would revert his research full circle and continue with matter transference. Edward was in no doubt. By this time, the MPD had caused him severe mental degradation. He would routinely hallucinate and would follow the wishes of the voices in his head. He knew that Maxis was now an obstacle. However, it would be Maxis's daughter Samantha that would fall victim to Edward's choices. 1115.